Coming right off their Somewhere in Time album, which is an amazing album. This one, start to finish, is structured well, has plenty of songs on it, but is it the proggiest?
The Maiden fans that often listen to the same song on the album like 8 different times and fall for the trick that it's a different one confuse this as prog, because what they actually did here was pay great detail and great attention to pacing and song structure, way more than I think we've seen from Maiden in the past.
A lot of people like to think that after this album, Maiden went downhill in terms of structure and songwriting.
A lot of people means boomers.
Yes.
Many boomers consider this to be the last classic Maiden album because boomers are allergic to change. And there was a lot of that, especially on this first half of the album here. There were a lot of stuff that we had not heard from Maiden up to this point.
Without further bovine excrement, Moonchild. Nicko brings absolute heat on the song. Fast-paced, hard-hitting sound. The guitar riff during the chorus is a perfect tie for the listener.
Bruce's softer vocals are not his thing, and he's a great vocalist. I actually often think of James Hetfield when he tries to sing softer on certain songs. He kind of sounds like Nardwuar when he tries to sing the softer stuff. But I am loving this brand new sound from Maiden. Most Maiden records across the board are kind of, you know... But they actually took the time. Dream Theater. Really cool. Alan Parsons kind of delay guitar synth style intro.
Building off what you said with Bruce, I agree. It's like he kind of stepped into a new region that's a little unfamiliar. I also felt like some of the verses were a little sloppy and hard to fit into the song. Definitely somewhat repetitive.
Yeah, I'd say the meat of the song is a little lengthy considering not too many moving parts, especially on the hook. But the pounding rhythm guitar and drums in the back during that Alan Parsons section is fantastic. And the solo was also really fresh too, with Dave and Adrian adding in things like the tapping, which we don't hear from them often, and other things that we really haven't heard from them so far.
I agree. The second half was really the strong point. I mean, that's also typical Maiden fashion, is the first half. Like, you have the really cool, interesting intro, formula, awesome guitar solo, and then potentially back to the formula for the outro.
Well, here I thought it was really cool that they reprised the intro for the outro. Really adds a nice build up right to the finish line. This is one of the better Maiden openers that I think I've heard. Give this one an 8.
Give this one a 7.
I love Nico's presence in the mix. It sounds like I'm listening to Dream Theater or something. Again, reinventing the sound. What a cool guitar section for the first verse with Dave and Adrian panned to each side, playing slightly different things. It almost gives it kind of like a double tracking sound, but playing slightly different parts themselves. I'm not sure why they couldn't have looked back on this album for the mixing on the synths on Senjutsu. That would have been preferable. The return of the formula that works is perfectly timed with Bruce stubbing his toe. Great energy there. I can see why people might confuse this with prog, like I was saying in the beginning, because they're kind of used to Maiden pretty much sticking exactly to that Bradley Hall video.
You know, nearly all of our songs go E, C, D, E. Oh!
But it's not prog, it's actually just called giving really, really great attention to pacing, keeping the interest level of fans up all the way through. I give this one an 8 as well.
I give this one a 7.
Yeah, remember when I was talking about the pacing and the new style?
Yeah.
I spoke too soon. It's kind of hilarious that this is one of the more popular songs on here, because I think the Maiden fans, like, they just want to hear the formula that works. Exclusively, that's all they need to hear is the Bradley Hall video.
Yeah, the thing I think that draws people to this song is kind of the same, which, before I say it, Wasted Years is a much better song. The way Wasted Years is structured with the chorus and people just love singing along to it, I think that's what Maiden was going for with this song. This isn't really a song that you're getting someone into this album, you're like, hey, listen to this song. This is more of a, like, someone who's already an established Maiden fan that just wants to sing to the song and not really focus on too much of what's going on.
I still think it's better than the stereotypical just Maiden formulaic track, mostly because of Dave and Adrian's guitar work. That is pretty much really the only deviation of the formula here. I give it a 6.
What I think the main purpose of this song is just to have an attractive chorus for the listener, so I give this one a 6. I enjoyed the tone and arrangement of the guitar intro. Steve harmonizing over the bridge was really well done. Very formulaic for a good majority of the song. Unfortunately, other than that, a little weak.
Are Maiden fans just like, are they not aware that there's a loop button? Does Maiden actually have to put Caught Somewhere in Time here multiple times on a track list?
One of the most irritating things in this song, the elongated Bruce Dickinson Like, I get why he did it. I get why it was put in, but my God, when I hear it for the 8th time, I feel like I'm trapped somewhere in time.
Yes.
And I can't get out of it.
The choir synths really add a nice extra depth to it, especially with the panning chugs on the guitar during the middle section. But are Maiden fans just like, are they not aware that there's a loop button? Does Maiden actually have to put
Rime of the Ancient Mariner
here multiple times on a track list? That was quite a long transition to the third song in this album.
The one standout for this is the synth arrangement. Unlike the Senjutsu, it actually complements it. Bruce, you know, he does his job well, but again, he just seems almost kind of like a hindrance on the song. For this album entirely so far, in terms of vocal approach, it's not one of my favorites from Bruce.
Yeah, I'm not too into the sea shanty rhythm of the hook. There's not really anything too attention grabbing on this song either, other than, of course, the beautiful outro from the harmonizing lead guitars to the fade in of the majestic acoustic guitar trio carrying us out. That really saved the song for me. I give it a 7.
The outro really does save it, makes up for it. Give it a 6.5.
Very heavy Billy Joel cover. Overall, well, I think the first couple songs contained 90% of the material that was worth listening to on this album. This record contains actually some of my favorite Maiden moments that I've heard so far.
Although it has the Maiden staple of hard-hitting drums, galloping bass, explosive guitar work, and harmonization, this album suffers from more of a more formula that works approach, and some of my least favorite work from Bruce. Besides that, great riffs, great structure. Handful of these songs are interesting, but unfortunately, another handful of them are disappointing, including the title Epic, which you would expect a little more from.
They demonstrate incredible focus on pacing and variety in songs like Moonchild and Infinite Dreams, and to a lesser degree, The Prophecy, especially the outro. But to the same degree, I've also never heard them more formulaic. There's some songs like Clairvoyant and the title track that are pretty much indistinguishable from some of their other material. So I give this one a 6.5.
I give this album a 6.